Hoodstocks calls it quits. Now, Lucky is a podcaster slash the owner of the YouTube channel slash podcast Hoodstocks, and he took it to Instagram a couple days ago to make this statement that he's basically hanging it up and he's no longer going to continue his hit show Hoodstocks on YouTube. Now, many had an opinion. I'm going to give mine right now. I'm going to break down this whole situation as far as, me being a podcaster and YouTuber slash content creator in 2024. I think I can get some insight on this. Plus, we'll just break down the whole situation as far as this crazy announcement from Lucky. Check it out. Now, here he is, y'all. He's the host and owner of this popular podcast, probably one of the biggest and probably one of the most influential podcasts in California. He's in LA, I believe. I'm not sure what city, but he's definitely in the Los Angeles area. And very controversial podcast as far as, it's kind of hood. The dude would drink on there. He would have guests. They would try to run fades. It's pretty crazy to say the least. But again, one of the biggest on the West Coast, and he actually made this statement. Now, before I break everything down, I want to read the statement and then give my opinion on the whole matter. So he said this: not seeking attention, speaking from my heart. I've given Hoodstocks my life for 7 years straight, taken from my fam. At this point, I feel I got to be selfish for myself and my family, not trying to give the streets no more. There's no money in it. Business-wise, it's senseless. If I continue this journey, it would be on pure pride and ego, and I've already learned that lesson in the hood. Now, I can somewhat relate to him. I think a lot of content creators and even myself, you get ideas or you think about giving up because the time, the money, and the effort you put into your platforms and making content, the return of investment is usually little to no return whatsoever. And there he is saying it'd be he'd be nothing but pride and ego if he continued, because he thinks it's senseless because he's not making no money. Now, a couple things I'm going to break down here are this. When you make YouTube videos, there's $3 that appear on your videos in the back office in the YouTube studio, right? Whenever they're monetized, when you're making money, and they tell you if your video is going to get full ad, monetization, that's green. That's a full go mode, green $, cha-ching, baby. Then there's a yellow one, and that's limited. That's basically nothing, y'all, to be honest. They're limiting you right there. And then there's a red $, which is no monetization whatsoever. YouTube is a business, and they run ads on these videos in order to gain revenue and keep the business afloat. So you got to think about that. So I said to say this. I went and looked at Lucky's page or his Hoodstocks channel, and it seemed like it's monetized because you can go in there and give a super thanks in the comments, and you can actually get money on every video or most that I've seen. And that tells me right there that his channel is not demonetized and he's making money on it. So the point is, you got to think about this. If you make content, they want to push your content to people, right? They will consume it and they throw ads on top of it. So depending on what kind of content you make, what you're doing on your page and channel, that depends on how much money you make on your ads, right? Exotic cars and resorts and real estate and all that, that's going to bring a higher percentage as far as what you're going to make off the ads compared to, other kind of content that, the demographic or the audience, they're a whole different audience than someone that's buying a luxury vehicle, right? So they use all this stuff, y'all, to basically base how much they're going to pay you on your, I want to say either CPM or RPM, right? How much per minute or whatever. It's a formula they make, right? So I'm just saying the kind of content you make actually determines on how much money you're going to make on the ads, depending on what kind of audience you have, right? So I said to say this, what I seen Lucky do, he's been very controversial. I've seen him crash out a couple times. He's gone viral trying to run fades with Lefty Gunplay, California rapper. I've seen him drink many times, get drunk on the podcast, which I thought was very irresponsible and is not very professional. I don't care what anybody says or thinks. I've seen it firsthand. If someone thinks they're going to do better on a pod by drinking, it usually does not go good. It's always better to be a sober-minded individual whenever you're making content, especially that makes money and something that is generating revenue, like I said. So I seen them do that, trying to run fades. They cuss on there. And I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying that kind of content in itself is not very marketable to a wide range of people. I'm not saying that him and other people don't make money. I'm just saying that's just how I look at it, right? So I've seen him do that stuff. He's saying he's not making money. I've seen his other videos, his main videos, they're hitting like 2,000 views per video on the ones that he grabs from his lives and puts on his video. So I was thinking about that too. Is he making money on those videos? And if he is, it's not much because his videos aren't hitting a lot of they're not generating a lot of views. So him saying he's not making money, maybe that's somewhat true as far as the whole channel goes, because even I see the views on the regular videos. I mean, for 200,000 subs, he has 196,000 people, sub to his channel, with only 2 to 5,000 I've seen on the last couple of videos that are not lives. That's not a big number, especially when you have that many subscribers. So I'm not saying he's shadow banned, but it's kind of weird that his numbers ain't that high on his regular videos he posts. So that too could determine that he's not making enough money. I'm gonna also say this: the distance from his place of business to his family, right? He states here that, taken away from his family, he needs to be selfish. And I agree with that to a certain extent. My studio is in my backyard, right? Because me as a family man, I miss my family. On my days off, I want to be with my wife and kids. And it really hurts, and really, I don't know how else to say it, but when I, pull myself from my wife and kids, it's very, I don't even know how to even really say it, y'all. But when I peel myself from my wife and kids, it's a bad feeling, to leave your kids. To go to work is one thing, but to go do something like this, like podcasting, I can only imagine that it would add more stress to a marriage, even to a father and a kid's relationship, because you're leaving the house once more to go make money, right? So that's why I'm glad that my studio's right in my back door. I can just call my son, bring me a drink, or, son, go turn my AC on, or go to the front and eat dinner, come back, make a video. I'm right here. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with Lucky too, because his studio, I believe, is not even near his home, as far as, mine's 1 minute, 30 seconds away. So I think that right there in itself can actually lead to more stress, having your studio far away from your home. And man, that sucks. That would suck to have to leave and drive, I don't even know how many minutes to your place of business to make content, right? I'm glad mine is in my backyard, my studio. So that's one thing I noticed. And then if you think about it, the rent, my property's, paid off. I'm buying my house. So I have a 12 by 20 studio back here that I've already paid for. If he's renting a piece of property somewhere in LA, I mean, that's overhead right there. So again, with what I've seen on his videos, he has somewhat low views. I'm not saying all, but from what I noticed. And then his lives, I've seen one with 100,000 plus views. But at the same time, I don't know how YouTube generates the live feed revenue, right? If you have a live video, I don't know how, you get paid off of that. And that's another thing. Maybe, well, I don't know. I'm going to quit talking about that, because I don't know how ads run on lives. I don't even know if they even run on a live, right? But I did see some of his lives are hitting 100,000. So for him saying he's not making no money, he needs to basically be selfish for his family. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at his whole situation as far as, how I'm running mine. For good or bad, that's just how I'm looking at it. So again, he has overhead with this building, with his equipment, which hopefully he's already paid off. But he has sponsors. We'll touch on that in a minute. But one thing I noticed about his equipment, he made a post that his Rodecaster Pro, I have one here and I have one in my front house. There's a newer version, but he said that it broke and that he needed one if anybody to help him out or something like that. I'm like, damn, bro, you got a big podcast and you're asking people for equipment. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of weird in my opinion. I seen that before he made this post. So now it all kind of makes a little bit more sense, right? Maybe he's strapped for cash. I don't know. So I saw him asking for money for equipment. Then he makes this post. And I go through his channel and I'm just looking around and seeing, man, what's happening here? I've also noticed that he has sponsors on his channel, right? The more I look at it, I'm like, man, is it that he's not making enough money? He's not making no money, or the money he's making is not, up to his standard for what he's putting out, right? And these are all, this is all just speculation at this point, but I mean, he said it here in the post. So I notice on his channel, he also has sponsors. So that right there is generating revenue, I will believe, every month. So I'm just looking at his whole situation in whole, and just kind of just trying to figure out, what's going on here, quick little take on it. And obviously he's not happy with the money coming in and the effort he puts out. And I can relate to a certain degree. And I think a lot of content creators have that feeling sometimes, from little to big, right? I put so much effort, time, and money into this, and I usually get none back. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how YouTube works. That's how content creation works for the most part. And also, everybody listening, many people are making content now from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, the regular person can make a page, a channel, or whatever, and either do well or just keep trying, right? everybody's doing it. So I do feel for the guy as far as him wanting to give up, because it's not easy, y'all. I'm just on the outside looking in, kind of breaking down the whole situation as far as being a content creator. And, I can agree with some of what he said here. Bad marketing. Did he do good with his, publishing of his content? Because that's one thing to make content. It's a whole nother to market it and put it out there and even publish it and get it in front of the right people. Now, if I was him and running his channel, maybe I wouldn't even do lives. I don't know how the lives work. I used to do a lot of Instagram lives. I would do some YouTube lives, but I don't even remember if they even make much money, to be completely honest, right? But the point is, I think the money is in pre-recorded content. So maybe if I was him, something I would have probably did different. I probably wouldn't have live streamed the interviews. Maybe I would have pre-recorded them and put out clips or something. But then again, that's how he runs his program. And some people are better at doing live streaming than, doing pre-records. Either way, I think a better tactic on making content, I believe, and I've kind of heard and seen, is you pre-record everything, and if you want, clip it up. I did an interview a couple weeks back, and I did an hour interview, and I clipped it up like DJ Vlad. Look how DJ Vlad does it, right? Even No Jumper, right? No Jumper, and he commented on here. We'll look at it in a minute. Adam 22. I don't know if he does really live interviews. He might, but I do know that he does drop full podcasts, and they're pre-recorded, and then he'll put clips up. So that's the thing. Bad marketing, bad publishing. I don't know what Lucky is doing wrong here, or if he's doing anything wrong. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying you would think someone with 200,000 subscribers on a YouTube channel, right, would make plenty enough to keep it going. That's kind of another thing that I'm thinking about, because I know guys with big old pages with those numbers. That's not a small feat to have 200,000 subs. Now, what he's doing with the content, I don't know. Again, I'm looking at it like, what's going on here? It's very interesting, to say the least. Again, I don't know if his amount of money as far as success is the same as mine. I'm just giving you my perspective as a content creator myself. Now, family, right? Your family will, of course, miss you, hopefully. And again, if he's traveling a certain amount of time and a distance from the home, maybe that has something to do with him, getting homesick. Even if it's for 30, 40 minutes, or not even for a couple hours, he leaves out to go record. He left his family back at the house. You know what I'm saying? You can get homesick doing that so much. So he did say that's part of his reason here. He needs to put his family first. And I agree to a certain extent, or really completely all the way, right? Always put your family first. Let's get back into it. Any bias? I don't know. I actually put that on my Instagram page. I said, I think people with brown skin like us, we usually don't go that far, and I'm not trying to hate on him or pull the race card, but I've kind of noticed that, y'all. I don't know what they want to call or label us, Hispanics, Mexicans, whatever. I don't know. I would think he claims to be a Mexican, whatever, Latino. I'm just an American citizen, Christian, whatever, right? But I do realize, and I've had conversations with my wife about this, that I don't know if people like us with brown skin and caquita brown eyes like this, if we are really, what people want to see or what they want to promote and put up there, like everybody else, and I'm not trying to pull the race card whatsoever. I'm just saying, I kind of seen it myself. Are people that look like me, are we up there, as far as entertainers and all that? Maybe to a certain degree in some form or fashion, but maybe there's some kind of bias against us and people that look like us. Again, not trying to pull the race card, but that's a thought. I'm not going to lie. I've had that thought, and I don't know if the guy is marketable or what. I don't know how people look at people like us, like I said, again, with brown skin, And again, I'm not trying to be racial or none of that, but this is thoughts I've had myself, right? These are thoughts you have to, these are questions sometimes you have to ask yourself and answer and resolve, because it is kind of weird when you see, like me, I see the biggest pages are, certain conservatives that of different ethnicities, and man, they're up there big, and I'm like, man, is this all a scam? Is this all kind of are these people picked? Again, I don't know. I do have them thoughts sometimes, and I question it. Anyway, so let's get to what I thought was very interesting about a lot of this. Let's go to this right here. Adam 22. And shout out my boy 44 Vato. Two different takes, right? 44 Vato says short clips on TikTok. Make sure they're 1 minute long every video. Easy 10K a month if done right, Cardinal. See, he's giving good advice, and we'll read Adam 22s in a minute. But back to what I was saying. With so much content, I'm gonna be completely honest. With so much content that Lucky has on his YouTube channel, he could easily make a bag off of different platforms, repurposing the content on different platforms. Maybe he don't know about it. Maybe he's not hip to that, or maybe he don't care, or maybe he does do it. I don't know. But 44 Vato has a good point. But look at 44 Vato's comment compared to Adam 22. Adam 22 says this: time to grow up and come work for the gringo. Now, when I sing this, y'all, I'm not gonna say I got offended because I honestly don't care, but many people were pissed off in the comment section, y'all. And to be honest, to see Adam 22 write this, I thought it was somewhat disrespectful, but I saw that Lucky liked the actual comment, so maybe they joke around like this. But this was very interesting and telling that this is how Adam 22 responds to a Hispanic / Mexican Latin podcaster from LA when they call it quits. So there's Adam 22 with, his take on the matter. Interesting. That's the difference between Adam 22 and 44 Vato. I'll let you tell it. So in wrapping up the whole situation, Lucky calls it quits. And I was going to say, if you think I'm hating or whatever, I ain't going to apologize for anything that I said. I'm not even hating on the guy. This is just giving my perspective, everything I broke down in the beginning till now. He's calling it quits. And sometimes people do that when they make YouTube, even bigger YouTube channels. I do find it odd once I went and looked at his numbers, when I saw that his channel was not demonetized, because people were saying you can demonetize and all this other stuff. He's not demonetized. But again, maybe what he does on his podcast has gotten him in hot water. Maybe some of his videos are not fully green. Maybe there is not much money for his actual content and the way he markets it and puts it out. At times I've gotten my videos and I've blurted out certain words, even if they're not cuss words, certain words I know YouTube don't like, right? Everything that I do in any content I make it with the thought of it going out further, and if anything, maybe going viral. And when you do that, you have to make sure, it's trimmed up nicely. And for the most part, you want some stuff, it just goes just based on the passion, the fire, the content, whatever, it just goes. But at the same time, if you're making podcasts and making videos with intent and purpose, you do want to be smart with what you're putting out there. And some stuff is just not going to make no money. It might even go viral, but it might not make that much money due to the content matter. If you're drinking, smoking, cussing a lot, that all comes down into the monetization. And again, I've seen Lucky crash out. I've seen him act a fool. I've heard him talk very perverse on his podcast. To be honest, I don't even watch Hood Stocks, but I know he is one of the biggest figures in the Latino / hip hop genre of podcasting. And seeing the smoking, the drinking and all that, I knew it was a recipe for disaster long ago. Now, I'm not saying that has nothing to do with this. I'm just saying, as far as someone on the outside looking in, seeing somebody giving up on their YouTube channel due to them claiming they're not making no money, when obviously they got a big following, a big enough following, you should be able to turn that into a bag. That's what makes me wonder if maybe, his content just didn't go far enough because it was limited by certain acts or, controversial, content. And that's just my take on it, y'all. And I don't want to be too long-winded on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, y'all, Lucky is hanging it up, or so he says. Sometimes people do this and they don't hang it up. But maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe he's tired of it, y'all. Again, at the same time, he probably could be making a good bag. But maybe it's not good enough for him. And maybe it's not good enough for him leaving this family, for the time that he's at the studio. All this right here is mixed together for, what people don't realize, the struggles of making content. Again, I'm not comparing it to like a big job or a hard job, but it is challenging to make content in a day and age where people want to cancel you for anything, for your own opinion, and then everybody else is doing content. And then, the restrictions these platforms have on you. They can give you a demonetization or a strike, from months old videos. So again, there's Lucky, y'all. I gave a little bit longer video than usual because, I can feel his pain because I'm a content creator / YouTuber that sometimes thinks about giving up to, and I'm nowhere near his numbers. But again, y'all, 200,000 subscribers on a YouTube channel, and Lucky's calling it quits. Let me know what you think in the comments, y'all. With that, I'm out of here. God bless. Later.